One. Welcome to Drum Talk. And today we're going to talk about choosing the perfect hi-hat cymbals. So let's talk about my hi-hat cymbal journey. And my first journey started with what most drummers my age probably started off with, which is a pair of Zildjian new beat hi-hats. These are 1979 Zildjian hi-hats. They've got the hollow logo on them. 15 grams on the top. My bottom hat is a 1266 grams. Zildjian came up with the concept of having two different weight hi-hat cymbals in the 60s. Into the 70s, and they became very popular. And the 14-inch size is the most popular size hi-hat cymbal, and the A Zildjian new beat hi-hats are the most popular hi-hats probably ever made, and been probably on more records than any other set of hi-hats ever. But hi-hat cymbals changed as the years went on, and one of the ways they changed is they got thicker and heavier, as all cymbals did in the 80s. And my quest to find the best hi-hat cymbals continued from there. So I had a set of new beats, and my second set of hi-hat cymbals was a set of Paiste Rudes. These are actually 1984 Paiste Rudes. And the interesting thing about the Paiste Rudes is they have a very similar weight pattern to the new beats. Even though they look really harsh and heavy metal-like, in actuality this top cymbal is 897 grams. And the bottom cymbal is 1168 grams. Now the reason I picked up the Rude hi-hat cymbals had to do with a guy named David Garibaldi. And David Garibaldi was a drummer for Tower Power. He had a Paiste endorsement back in the 80s into the early 90s. And he was using a pair of Rude hi-hat cymbals in his playing around town in LA where he was working at the time. Not as rude as everybody thinks they are. Clean, crisp, unlaid, they look kind of cool. I thought they looked really cool. And these are my main cymbals for a long time. From the Rude hi-hat cymbals, I got into my next pair of hi-hat cymbals being a little bit smaller. Now, everybody was moving smaller with 13-inch hi-hats. Neil Peart made it very popular. Neil Peart of Rush, he was using 13-inch hi-hats way before a lot of other drummers were. And in the late 80s, early 90s, Zildjian came up with a cymbal line called the KZ hi-hats. The KZ line of hi-hats was a dark K top cymbal with a bottom cymbal that was a Z cymbal. And the Z cymbals were made in the likeness of the Rudes because it didn't have any hammering on them, but they were B20 cymbals. This particular 13-inch cymbal weighs 1,481 grams, so it's quite heavy. That's the bottom cymbal. And the top cymbal is a K. So let's listen to the KZs. A lot of cut. Guys that played the KZs for a long time, guys like Omar Hakim, Carter Beauford, Dave Matthews Band, they were all using this hi-hat configuration for a long, long time. Modern Drummer magazine, where Jeff's on the cover. Jeff Porcaro has got a picture of his Pearl drum kit with all his Paiste cymbals and a set of KZs there. And Jeff thought it was cool enough for hats, and he was the hat guy. If you listen to anybody playing hi-hats, it's always the Jeff Porcaro thing for me. Because Jeff had this way of playing that he called it the lope of the hi-hat, where he was doing the tip and the shank of the stick, and back and forth. And by the way, James Gadsden made that famous. I'm sure all the Motown drummers were doing it. It was kind of a R&B thing to do, not to just play. That dead straight tip of the stick thing. To get that funky, lopey feel, you went with the tip and the shank of the stick. My Sabian AA 13-inch hats were 976 gram bottom with a 700 and I think it's 52 gram top. The Sabian AA's 13 inches really filled a void for me because I started going Sabian cymbals, and that's when I started buying them. In about 2003, I picked up this bottom cymbal for a set of Sabian hats. This is a Sabian 13-inch, and this is a flat hat bottom that I have modified the heck out of, by the way. I probably drilled 6 holes in it, and at different points in time I've had 3 jingles on it and 3 more rivets on it. And this gives it more of that really bright thing. That gave me another set of hats without having to buy another whole set of hats. So this is the 13-inch with the flat bottom. And the jingles, they kind of work kind of nice if you're doing like kind of a... Which brings me to my next set of hats. The last 5-7 years, everybody's been going to bigger hi-hats, made popular by Steve Jordan, who was playing 17-inch hi-hats for the longest time. He's been taking 2 17-inch traditional crashes and putting them together and turning them into 17-inch hi-hats. 17s and 18s always seemed a little big to me. But I guess it was 2011 or 12, my friend Alan Levine gave me this wonderful 16-inch Istanbul Paiste Rude. He said, I bought it for jazz. It's got a great little jazz ride cymbal, but it's a little high pitched for me and my taste. So I thought this would make a perfect bottom cymbal. So this is 1,752 grams of bottom cymbal glory. And my first set of 16-inch hats was my Zildjian medium thin crash. That's signed by Danny Serafin, by the way. That's Danny Serafin's signature. I won it at a drum clinic in 2011. And I said, let's put the Zildjian 16-inch medium thin crash up with this Istanbul bottom. And it has a really nice kind of a bigger new beat sound. So I said, that's cool. Let's try it now with this dark K crash I have, 16-inch. By the way, it's about the same amount of weight as the A Zildjian Danny Serafin crash. This one happens to be 1181. This one was 1115. So they're about almost the same. Now I was playing a lot of church music, and this is where church drummers were going. Big hi-hats for that. I had a whole bunch of Sabians, so I said I need to get a Sabian one to go with it too. So my Sabian 16-inch set of hats is a medium thin crash HH, which sounds very similar to this K here. And this one's 1,089 grams, so it's slightly thinner than the other two 16-inch crashes. "16-inch crash cymbals made me want to get some bigger hi-hats. Over the years, I've had a set of 15-inch rock Zildjian hats. Did not like them at all. I've traded them since for a set of Paiste 505s. Now, this takes me into my Paiste journey again and the perfect Paiste hi-hats. So let's talk about the 505s first. I had the Rude hi-hats for the longest time. The Paiste 505s, 14-inch, were my brother's hi-hat cymbals. And my friend Scott got his Yamaha Stage Series drum kit. And when I gave him that kit, I also gave him the 14-inch 505s. I always liked the 14-inch 505s, but I gave it along with that deal, so. By the way, the 14-inch 505 hats by 505 enthusiasts is one of the best medium hats. It's one of the best set of hi-hats anybody can buy. They are the 2002 alloy medium, and these happen to be 990 grams on the bottom, 741 grams on the top. Very light. Now I had another set of Paiste hi-hats, the Dimensions 13-inch hats. And I said this in the Paiste video that I had a pair of the Dimension Just Thin hats, but these are the thin heavy hats, so this has got a heavy bottom to it. This was probably about 2006 or 7 I picked these up. B8 alloy, very nice hats. My latest and greatest set of hi-hats I got in the last year, and these are the ones that go with my giant beat cymbals that I have, a lot of giant beats. And these are the Paiste 15-inch giant beat hats, and they are the perfect combination of big hi-hat with that new beat quickness. And I've been playing them in just about every video I've done in the last couple months. They're big and chunky. I'm gonna say they're chocolatey, like Vinnie Colaiuta said. No, they're not chocolatey. They're chunky, and they got that giant beat kind of shimmer to them. That B8 alloy. As you can see, I love hi-hat cymbals, and I have lots of different types. Most of my hi-hat cymbals have to be kind of on the thin side. I like the thinner hi-hat cymbals. The bigger ones give you that spread, give you that bigness. Really great for the rock worship music stuff. These giant beats, they fill the void just like the new beats do, of just being right in that pocket, of being something you can play on any pop record from the 60s and 70s. By the way, John Bonham's first set of hi-hats, set of 15-inch Paiste giant beats. I don't know if they were the same weights, but I'm sure they're pretty darn close. 2002s are a little thicker, a little bit more chunkier, probably, but just beautiful cymbals. So if you're looking for the perfect hi-hat cymbal, all I can tell you is look at your playing style and look at what you're trying to get out of it. If you want the bark, that really bright bark, then you're probably going to want to go with thinner, smaller, heavier cymbals. If you want more of that jazz swish kind of thing, you're going to want to go with lighter, thinner cymbals. If you're looking for the big rock sound, the dark rock sound, you're going to want to go for the B8, you know, the Zildjian, Istanbul, Sabian, HH style cymbal, or Paiste traditionals. If you want the brighter cymbals with a little bit more of that bright cut, the AAs, the AA Zildjians, the Paiste B8 alloy 2002s, giant beats, they're all going to fit that void. Now if you notice, Paistes, Istanbuls, Sabians, and Zildjians. I don't have any Meinls. I've never been a Meinl player, so I really can't comment about Meinls. I will tell you that the new alloy they just came out with this past year sounds a lot like the giant beats, and a couple times I've played them in music stores. So you might want to look at those. They look like really nice hi-hat cymbals. The Dream cymbals, you're going to get a darker cymbal. Dreams are made with that Wuhan China B8 B20 alloy, so it's going to have that Chinese alloy kind of feel to it. But Dream's got some really interesting cymbals too. There's a lot of cymbal makers out there. For me, it's always been the big three: Paiste, Sabian, or Zildjian, and I have sets of each. But my personal taste right now, the giant beats are winning out. But they're also the last cymbals I bought, so who knows if I go for another one at some point in time. Anyhow, this is Drum Talk. Hope you've enjoyed my little hi-hat journey. If you have any questions, please leave comments and questions in that place at the end of the YouTube video, and have a great day.